early.
We're 1 minute. That's like a record for us. I mean, come on.
We've been 3 minutes early before.
All right. Hey, Brad. Hey, Jim. Hey, Rhett. Hey, Laura. Hey, everybody in the chat. Good to see you guys. You guys are already off to a rousing chat start. Look at you guys go. Aaron's here. Good to see y'all.
Yeah. Good to see everyone. Hey, I'm going to make a special pitch just for the viewers watching live right now. Do you know what this is, Jeff Eccles?
That looks like a sticker.
This is a We Like Drinking sticker. Do you know how many of these were printed?
Thousands.
No, it was hundreds. Hundreds.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you know what these are?
Those are business cards.
These are my We Like Drinking business cards. It actually has my phone number on it and my title, right? Yeah. Do you know how many of these exist on the planet?
250.
250, probably less than that. I probably lost a lot at the Wine Bloggers Conference a couple years ago. But here's the deal, right? These are more rare than NBA Top Shot moments. And so what I'm saying right now, just to everybody that's watching live right now, you go ahead, by the end of the show, your homework assignment, you are going to sign up for an NBA Top Shot account. It's the first ever cryptocurrency NBA trading card. You're gonna gift me a card. My name is Jeff is Rad on NBA Top Shot. You show me proof that you have done that, and I will personally mail you an autographed We Like Drinking business card. That's what I do.
Do they have to pay? Do they have to pay with Bitcoin? What?
No, is this NFTs?
No.
Are you cheating? Are you shucking NFTs now?
I'm shucking NFTs. They'll take your money, and then it will exist on their blockchain, and then eventually they'll let you withdraw. So there you go.
Eventually Elon Musk will tweet about it and you'll make $10,000.
You know what I want? All I want are Robin Lopez moments, the goofiest jump shot you've ever seen in your entire life. Yeah. These are collector's items. And
Lawrence already regrets everything that he's done tonight.
I'll be right back.
Hey, those LeBron James that are going for $700-800. There's like 15,000 of those. 250 of these.
I thought Lawrence was just going to pull the escalator bit and just slide off the. All right. So viewers, like listeners, won't be able to hear this. You may remember last week I had hardware problems. We had to re everything. I don't know. Is my mic sounding any better tonight? Is it still pretty hot?
You sound great.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I have an attempt at getting the music to work tonight, non-hardware based. So we'll see. This may be a total disaster.
Jeff breaks out his ukulele. Like
I can plug in my guitar if you want.
No, we don't want that.
You don't want to hear any Led Zeppelin riffs?
No.
Sorry.
No. All right. Okay. So Lawrence is dying to get onto the show so he can get done with the show. And I'm dying to get into these drinks. So I say we get this started. You guys all set?
Yeah, man.
Ready?
All right. And here we go.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
This week on episode 318 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be discussing Troy getting buck wild with Joe. We beg for your fandom, and we're playing everyone's favorite game, Drink or Myth, with Lawrence Cisneros of Drnxmyth bottled cocktails. So crack open that beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking! Oh my goodness, guys. Like the first time in 318 episodes that you guys have been like in sync on your scream.
I was saying that too.
That was like impressive.
Yeah, man. Almost impressive as Jeff is rad on NBA Top Shots. You should look up my portfolio. Send me moments.
So let me say, cheers, my podcast drinking friends, and welcome to Happy Hour 318 of your favorite award-winning topical beer and wine education podcast focusing on fun.
Fun.
Oh, I'm glad we're all having it. So make sure you never miss another episode of our brand of drinking fun by visiting welikedrinking.com/subscribe. All right. We have so much to drink tonight. Like I've never said that. We usually have so much to talk about, so much to do. No, tonight we've got so much to drink that we need to get right into this episode, find out who we're drinking with and what we're drinking. We are joined by our usual panel members. We have our California Sustainable Wine Growing Ambassador and recovering wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
That's Jeff is rad on NBA Top Shot.
Our commercial brewer and snake wrangler, John Ruyak.
I can't top that.
I'm with you. And I am your host and certified specialist of wine, Jeff Eccles. Now, our guest this week is one of the founders of Drnxmyth, a company that creates freshly made mixed drinks delivered right to your door, made with cold pressed, 100% fresh ingredients, and believe me, an ingenious bottle design. You'll always be ready to twist, shake, and pour a delicious cocktail for two anytime. Please help us welcome Lawrence Cisneros. Welcome to the show, Lawrence. Excellent visual hello on a podcast. I love it. This Lawrence fits right in. This is right in. Fantastic. All right. So Lawrence, this is a fantastic product you guys have come up with. We thank you for sending some samples out to us. Unfortunately, I haven't received my sample, so I went ahead and mixed up my own by hand. My hand's a little sore from all the crushing of limes, but I made my own little margarita here. And when I finish that, I have a left hand Death Before Disco Porter, still living on some hashtag World Porter Day. So getting into that. Jeff Solomon, what are you mixing tonight?
You know, Eccles, I do have to say, I do not believe that you made that margarita, because when Eccles makes mixed drinks, he needs to have the patented pre-cut 3-inch thick cucumber chunks floating around in there. So I don't know. I that's a little suspect. You know, I was planning on drinking, and last week I had the Hibiscus Haze from Drnxmyth, and that was amazing. I loved it so much. I love that smoky nature. I was planning on having the smoked watermelon tonight, but John Ruyak, the herpetologist, snaked me. So instead, I'll be having the bourbon sour tonight. I haven't cracked this open yet. Do you want me to do that now, or should I wait for Johnny to talk about it?
Let's go ahead and wait a second. Lawrence, we haven't got a chance to talk to you because I was so excited to get into my drink. But what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking, let's see, Sam Adams Winter Ale. Okay, there.
Nice.
And then, but starting with Plantation Pineapple Rum.
Ooh,
nice.
Starter and a chaser kind of thing.
That sounds exciting. All right, John, what are you cracking open?
So the other day, my wife and I cracked open the East Cider with gin and cucumber water and stuff, and enjoyed that a lot. Pre-game today, right before dinner, Sharon made a butternut squash galette with caramelized red onions, feta cheese, and butternut squash roasted with thyme, and we opened up the Hibiscus Haze and had that with dinner. But for the show, because there's also mezcal in the Hibiscus Haze, as Jeff said last week, I had this smoked watermelon that's got watermelon and mezcal, of course, and spiced honey and aromatic bitters with basil-infused water and fresh lemon juice. Smells and tastes delicious.
Awesome. So yeah, let's get into the packaging. I mean, I want to get into this right away. This packaging is something else. I'm assuming you guys invented this completely.
Yep, just for our special unique cocktails.
That's amazing. And so you heard Jeff Solomon talk about it last week. But there's two chambers to it. There's a lower chamber, and the lower chamber has the juices in it. Is that correct?
Yep.
And then the top chamber has the alcohol, and what else is in there with the alcohol?
It'd be some bitters, perhaps anything alcoholic, or liqueurs or bitters or spirits, and everything else is on the bottom.
All right. And then you twist it 180 degrees. That kind of cracks the seal. And then you shake it up, and that mixes everything together. And then you pour it over ice, or just drink it out of the bottle if need be.
Exactly. So I usually like it over ice, unless it's like ice cold, then you can have it out of the bottle. But over ice kind of mellows it out a little bit.
Unbelievable. And Jeff, can you describe like what the bottle look like? The bottle even looks like some top shelf.
Yeah, like it definitely it's neat, the design of it. This is, it's a harder plastic, and there was no like infusion of plastic flavor in it, but it looks like glass, but it's nice because if you drop it, and I accidentally dropped one earlier today, you're golden. But yeah, the setup is really cool. It almost has like a mason jar type of feel on the bottom, and then you go ahead and you crack that sucker, and you twist it up, and it's like magic right here. I can do the whole, and I know I bumped the mic because I'm doing my whole, I'm Tom Cruise doing some flair before I pour this over ice. This is wonderful.
When I cracked open the Hibiscus Haze, I was just like, ooh, look at all the stuff like coming down into the alcohol stuff, into the mezcal. It's just like, well, and my wife missed it. I'm like, I was literally like, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
I assume you guys have got a patent on this genius.
Yeah. We're just at the finish line on that, which is really nice. So it's looking like it's going to go through in the U.S. and patent pending in 10 other countries around the world. So
wow. Congratulations on that. That's a big thing. That's a big deal. So congratulations to you guys on that. And you guys, you're pretty happy with the drinks?
Yes.
Oh, me? Yeah.
My big fear with a lot of cocktails in general is I think people, our regular listeners know my history with big sugar. My big fear with a lot of cocktails in general is the sugar content that's in it. That being said, going back to the Hibiscus Haze that I had last week, coming into this bourbon sour right here, there's definitely a sweet component, but these are balanced AF, which stands for as finely balanced as possible. These are super balanced, and so you're not getting that like overly cloyingly sweet situation. I can see how some folks might throw a splash of tonic water in some of these just to kind of, for me, honestly, just to fill my glass all the way up to the top. But these are super well balanced and just well made. I'm really a fan of this. And for those that, there's also that other side where there's some people that are afraid of certain alcohols, right? Because maybe they have the history of like taking straight shots of something. This is your way to kind of dip your toes into like, I had a bad experience with gin one time. Well, how about you have a killer ass cocktail made with gin, and then maybe you realize it's not so bad, So I'm definitely, I was a fan from the jump as soon as I opened that box of samples last week. This is killer.
They had a bad experience with gin because they stole a bottle of their parents' Beefeater and ran out behind the bleachers.
No, it wasn't even mid shelf. It was Gilby's. They turned it into a bog afterwards.
If you drop the bottle, you don't have to worry because it'll bounce. So if you're interested, you should check out Drnxmyth's website. It's Drnxmyth, and be sure to follow them on Instagram, also at Drnxmyth, DRNXMYTH. Speaking of their Instagram, we have a little play along for everybody on the panel. We have everybody watching live. You have everybody listening, especially if you're driving. You need to make sure you're doing this live with us, or at the same time you're hearing this. Okay. I saw this on the Drnxmyth Instagram feed earlier this week, and it was how to get model face. And so we're all going to get model face for not for the rest of the show, but we'll see who has the best model face. Okay. Step number 1 is
I woke up this way, guys.
Step number 1 is to smile without using your eyes. So just use your mouth to smile. So everybody do that now. So smile without using your eyes.
I can't do it. I'm losing.
All right. Now that you're smiling without using your eyes, now you need to raise your eyebrows. Okay. Now you have your eyebrows raised and you got your smile on. Now make your smile go away. So your eyes are, now you have model face. So now you need to go about the rest of your day, or at least if you're driving, look to the person next to you and hold model face.
I look like a clown.
John Ruyak has killer model face. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
Man. That's for sure.
It was fantastic on theirs. They had one of their bartenders doing it. I can't remember his name. He's got the big mohawk, and then he proceeded to drink or to mix a drink completely in model face. It was fantastic. So check them out.
I could hold it for 2 seconds. I mean,
I know JVB and Rhett are rocking killer model face right now. So great job, Lawrence, on the product, on the Instagram feed, on the website. Everything looks fantastic. Guys, anything else? Dan is saying that Solomon nailed it, but now he's not going to be surprised.
What kind of model? I'm a hand model. Everyone knows.
All right. We got to hold off from getting to the interview portion because we need to get to a little bit we like to call wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference. This is where I'm going to give the panel a term, and they're going to try to tell me if the term is a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or some kind of pop culture reference. The term this week is Selva Ray. So is Selva Ray a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or a pop culture reference? I'm going to go bottom. Lawrence is still rocking model face up here. He's testing it out. It's looking pretty wicked up here. John Ruyak, what is Selva Ray?
well, I would do the audience a favor and ask you to spell that for us, please.
Capital SELVA, capital REY, one word.
Oh, Selva Ray. Okay. Well, I mean, Rey is king in Spanish.
Okay.
So, King of the Selvas. Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Selva Rays. Is it a new movie coming out?
They were a one-hit wonder way back in the 70s. I'm going to say that Selva Ray. I'm going to say that this is a wine term. It is some sort of grape that might be grown somewhere where they speak Spanish, and this is the king of the selvas. Yeah.
Okay,
wow.
so
I'm really going out on a limb here.
John Ruyak is going with a wine term that is some kind of Spanish grape. We'll just leave it there. Jeff Solomon.
Selva. I think that Selva Ray, there's context here, and the context is it kind of goes back to, there's a game within a game, everybody.
Always.
There's a reason why Eccles is waiting to ask Lawrence last, because I feel that he feels that Lawrence might know this, and yet he may be throwing us a bone as well. Selva is the common name of the hibiscus flower in certain areas of the world. It means the king of the hibiscus. So I'm going to say it, because of that, it is going to be a spirit reference.
So Jeff Solomon is saying is a spirit reference. It's something to do with hibiscus.
Hibiscus flower as featured in the Hibiscus Haze cocktail. Yeah.
There you go. Lawrence, any ideas what Selva Ray may be?
Should I spoil it, or is this a trick question?
Yeah. No, go ahead and spoil it.
Okay. Well, so it's the brand of rum that we have mostly used in our rum punch and our strawberry mojito. It's a Panamanian rum with the distillery is based in the jungle there in Panama, and it is owned actually by Bruno Mars, and they've relaunched it this year, and they got some pretty cool branding, and it's really high quality, and it's on the label of the rum punch and the strawberry mojito, so that's that's where it comes from.
All right.
Give me those points.
So
Give
Lawrence
me those
is
points.
Lawrence is saying that it's a spirit term, and it has something to do with some of the drinks that they produce. I think he said rum, the rum maker, possibly. All right. And Selva Ray is, in fact, everything that Lawrence said. I wrote that it's the rum that goes in the strawberry mojito, but Lawrence knew a lot more about it. So congratulations, Lawrence. Jeff Solon, you picked up a point as well for Selva Ray. All right, great job,
I
everybody.
drink a Selva Ray for ya. Huh? I'd be hip.
All right, we have winners. Everybody was going booze as well in the peanut gallery. JVB got them all together. Apparently they have a side chat going on, and he just said everybody here is going with booze. So everybody won except John. So good job, everybody.
Yeah, we're all winners when John loses.
All right, Lawrence. So, so much to talk about with this. You guys have, I want to start off and talk. You have your 5 classic drinks, your 5 classics. You have your bourbon sour, your classic margarita, your ginger drop, your East Side, and the rum punch. Along those, you have like scores of other drinks, the Hibiscus Haze that John had mentioned, the smoked watermelon that John's drinking tonight, the maple apple toddy. I saw a new one come out today. So, with the non-classic drinks, are they always available, or do they rotate in and out based on ingredient availability?
Yeah, they we'd like to keep them around as much as possible, but with production and keeping so many drinks around is always a little challenging, especially with perishable product. So it's definitely partly seasonal, partly new partnerships that come on board, different bartenders, different distilleries, different kind of new concepts we want to launch. And so, there's a certain level of maybe kind of not making enough on purpose at first to create a certain level of scarcity, relaunching it later, and then, having them around a little bit, phasing them out, bringing new stuff in. So it's kind of playing it by the hip, but it's also based on a certain amount of seasonality as well.
Awesome. And we got to touch on some of the basics here. So you guys, we mentioned the 2-chamber product, but you guys are also 100% natural juice. There's no natural flavorings or anything like that in there. And you guys, you don't use pasteurization, but you use cold pressurization. So I think we've heard that a couple of times, but can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and how that affects the juice?
Yeah, so the juice is the first product in the world to have unpasteurized juice in a alcoholic product, period. Um, and essentially we stabilize the juice because normally it goes bad, right? You know, if you have it even
Right.
refrigerated, you have fresh juice, unpasteurized, week, 2 weeks max. And so we use this cold pressurization technology, which is essentially we put the bottom part of the bottle is filled, and then we put it in these like aerospace, like sci-fi big metal machines. It's pumped in with water, and you know, like that scene from Star Wars where Luke Skywalker is like trying to get out trash, and it's like all coming in together. So imagine like the room where the bottles are in, the water. There's thousands of gallons of water, and it's compressed together, and so it's squeezing the bottles under 85,000 psi. And so everything wants to explode, but it doesn't. And then the microbes internally in the juice that would normally make your juice spoil essentially rupture. So like it kind of like instead of a normal cell like this, it kind of goes like that, like a broken leg. And then once it reforms in 5 months, then it goes bad. And so we kind of retard the growth for those 5 to 6 months. I know that's the long kind of weird story of it, but yeah, so that's how we essentially use unpasteurized juice, and that's why it tastes like a real drink and not some kind of fake imitation.
So that's pretty cool because, you know, in the brewery, we use 3 types of sanitation: heat by boiling water and running that through certain equipment, chemical sanitation, and we also do pressurization sanitation in the bright tank and fill it with like 7 to 10 psi for a couple of hours. And 7 to 10 psi will kill the bacteria that spoil beer, not necessarily what might spoil food. So yeah, so that's pretty cool that you do that. 85,000 psi though. Wow, that's crazy.
It's like imagine the bottom of the ocean times like 5 is kind of the equivalent level of pressure. So, you know, and it's cool because, you know, a lot of the actual food products you see in the supermarket, you know, like all those like packaged meats that are like plastic wrapped and like super tightly packed, hummus, any kind of hummus you see in the market, a lot of the cold pressed juices you see at, you know, high-end grocery stores, all of that is HPP or cold pressurization, you know, high pressure processed. And so we saw that like, you know, 7 years ago, we're like, oh my God, that's insane. We got to bring that to the alcohol industry. And that's what kind of, you know, led me on this podcast, you know, 7 years later.
Cool.
I'm wondering if just given the climate of everything, I'm wondering whether or not people tapped into that process to maybe help fight the coronavirus too. Because I would just love to see.
I had coronavirus with my eyes bug out like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall.
I love the fact that we're like beating up microbes, and yes, everybody, I know that viruses aren't alive. Leave me alone. But yeah, and that whole thing, the Star Wars thing, that I'm thinking about the microbes. Like, is everything okay down there? Yeah, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you? That is so cool. Okay. I know it's early in the interview.
Oh, here we go.
But I feel it's important because this is what I do. You know, I'm a beta tester on the NBA Top Shot. That's Jeff is rad. Send me some moments. But also, I feel like as much as I love this whole design, I love the labeling. I love everything. Like all the ingredients are listed right here. There's just one thing I don't see, which is a warning that says, "Hey, is there lotion on your hands? Don't try to open this." Because my wife, she picks this up and she's going, "I can't open this, Jeff." And then she hands it to me and I go, "I can't open it because all your lotion." So then, you know, I had to take like some 30 grit sandpaper to the outside, and eventually I was able to pop this sucker. I just hope that there's a warning that there's something there in the branding about this being a lotion-free zone. Otherwise, you're going to be very, very... It's almost like a Saw movie. Like somebody's like, I just really need this drink and I can't because of the lotion. But then the other thing is vowels. Are we against vowels at Drnxmyth?
We're against lubrication on your hand when you're trying to open the bottle. That's what we're against that. But yes, I mean, that was, it still is kind of a thing where people go Drnxmyth, or how do I say this? How do I spell this? How do I even Google this? What am I doing? And, we played around. The initial problem was that there was a certain risk around the trademark being unavailable for the regular drinks and the spelling. So we're like, well, let's get a little cute, take the vowels out. Maybe it seems kind of, futuristic, kind of like sci-fi, 200-year cocktail recipes meets technology comes together and makes like, a cool cocktail. So not against it, but yeah.
Oh, dude, and I think that's killer. And just even the more you talk about future, like I'm envisioning, like, you know what I'm envisioning? I went to Japan one time, a long time ago, and like vending machines everywhere. And like your first purchase of a hot can of coffee out of a vending machine is like, it's blissful. I bought a Thai out of a vending machine, and I definitely bought beer and potato chips. But my God, I just envision like just, walking down the streets of Nagoya, and it's like 3:30 in the morning, and you're like, now's a perfect time for a cocktail, and you just boop, 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 dropping yen, and then just super technological. I love that. But as much as I love the future and I love the references to the future, Lawrence, I want to go into the way back machine. Tell us about your entry into the drink world. What got you so passionate about cocktails, and then even maybe what led up to you wanting to be able to like make these awesome revolutionary bottled cocktails?
Well, I mean, I grew up in San Diego. We're in LA now, and when I was growing up, it was like craft beer revolution was being developed. Stone Brewery. We actually had a meeting today with the CEO of Stone Brewer, which was actually pretty interesting.
Wow.
And so kind of seeing that kind of newness around alcohol was kind of like, all right, new stuff going on in the industry. And, when in San Diego, before I moved up to LA about 8 years ago or so, to get a cocktail was being like, you get a rum and Coke, and you get a, gin and tonic, and, like most places in the country. And when I came up to LA for my law degree, we would go out to these super, cool underground speakeasy bars or cool hotels, and they're making like insane cocktails that like blew your mind. You're like, what the heck is this? I've never had anything like this. And it was something where, we obviously try to recreate it at home. And, being a struggling law student, my business partner, Brandon, he was working, insane hours in the CBD world, launching a shampoo company. And we were kind of like at home trying to make drinks for friends, and we have to have all these different ingredients, and you have to juice all the juices, and it's like, okay, I can make a margarita and that's it. Like you're just gonna drink beer, or we have to have all these problems making cocktails, but they're so delicious. And there's you have to go downtown LA or like certain high-end spots, downtown or West Hollywood, Santa Monica. And it kind of just seemed like everything at the store to make something convenient was like, this is not the same thing as what I was getting at a nice bar. And we kind of started thinking like, okay, I like drinks. I don't like them that much to have like a huge library. I actually really didn't kind of like get into like the home bartending kind of world because I was like in school, like a lot of things going on. I don't have time to have hobbies. And so it was something where I just wanted something convenient, and we just started kind of exploring like, wait a minute, there's a real, big gap in the market where it's possible to make a great drink. You can't find them at the store. It's a real pain in the butt at the house. Let's figure out how to make these drinks so people like myself who aren't really, expert cocktail makers can have them more conveniently.
You guys have done a fantastic job. And as soon as I saw the product, I was like, you immediately, like your head goes straight to all the places this would be so useful, and it's like, if you're having a cocktail party at your house. The last thing you want to be doing is playing bartender. You want to be socializing. And the other last thing you want to do is open up the bar to like your friends, because then that's just its own disaster waiting to happen. So this is just open up the fridge. There's a plethora of drinks. Grab what you want, twist and shake, and you're good to go. We talked about even like camping, rock concerts, anything like that. This would be. Have you looked at any? I know it's been a horrible year to start a company, but have you looked at any venues or anything like that for this being an option? If I'm at a Lakers game, can I order a Hibiscus Haze sometime in the future?
Yeah, I mean that's the plan. I mean, so we launched 2 months before the pandemic, and so we were going to the Cosmopolitan Hotel out in Vegas once a month to like do a custom Cosmo at the Cosmo Hotel, and like all these sick deals, Ritz-Carlton, this and that, and everything kind of dried up at the last minute. And we were even talking to Pernod Ricard, Dodge, all these places, to do collaborations at the Staples Center and different places where they essentially they put the flag in the ground. They kind of have a certain dominion over certain venues like Coachella or Staples Center or places like that. And so yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we're going to be doing in the future. We're talking to Live Nation's been at their headquarters here in West Hollywood, talking to Staples Center people. It's really kind of a no limit kind of product. And I think what even makes it even more no limit in a certain sense is that we can collaborate with so many different brands of alcohol, and we can not only customize it to the brand, but customize it to the venue. So we're doing a Beefeater Coachella 2021, certain kind of souvenir drinkers, a custom Cosmopolitan for the Cosmopolitan, in Vegas. And so we're kind of a little less like, yes, it's our brand, but it's also, customizing it for the occasion.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is killer, Lawrence.
Yeah.
And you know what else is killer? Just going back to the packaging, the labeling. I love how as you're spinning this label around, you're seeing that the drink that you're having was inspired by a particular mixologist. For example, this bourbon sour was inspired by at Jason F.U. That's YU. I just think that's so killer. And like with the Hibiscus Haze too, is where it's like now you're turning people on to like different influencers in the mixology game. They're getting more, they're organically obtaining knowledge while, in this very like, to me.
Jeff locked up. John, do you have another question while Jeff unfreezes himself?
Yeah, I don't have another question. I have my first question.
Yeah, there you go.
So I kind of answered my own question, but I was just curious to find out how difficult it was to get everything to like work in 200 milliliters.
What I
servings.
love about this is because like,
It's usually me that this happened to, so I'm glad it's not me.
Go ahead, John.
So, these things come in 200 milliliter servings, and I'm just wondering how hard it was to like balance things out, because sometimes some drinks are a jigger, drinks are a jigger and a half or a shot or what have you, and then the different the mixers that go into it aren't always in the same proportion. So I mean, this is an extraordinarily balanced drink, and all three of them that we've tried so far are very extraordinarily balanced. But to do that in a consistent 200 milliliter portions would seem to be pretty difficult. How did that come about?
Yeah, it's a daily challenge that is always frustrating to an extent, because you have a certain kind of vessel in and you're trying to put in so many different types of formulations of different ingredients. And luckily we kind of like allowed ourselves a little bit of flexibility in both chambers so that it's not so rigid in terms of what exactly we have to have. So we give ourselves a little bit, for example, like if we wanted a little less boozy, we can add a little more water. If we wanted more boozy, there's still a little extra space that we can make a little more boozy on the top. And so it's something where we kind of know and well, I would take a step back too. I mean, there's a general template of sour style cocktails. So a whiskey sour, a daiquiri, a margarita, which is kind of a daisy, but nonetheless, like it's something where we kind of started with that, had to build into the 200 ml size that is required by the federal government, by the TTB. And so we basically had to work off what is the standard ratios of spirit to mixer to water, and then fit it into the 200 ml, and then give ourselves a little bit of breathing room and try to work with that as best we can. So that's pretty much it.
So really a lot of empirical, I guess, trial and error, I guess, to get it right. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And you know, it's worked out relatively well, but at the same time, we're kind of somewhat limited in the total range of drinks that we can do. Like even right now, I want to be working on a sidecar cocktail, which is basically brandy and orange liqueur and lemon, but it has so much orange liqueur and basically not a lot of like sugar on the bottom. So we have to put the orange liqueur on the top, and the top of chamber isn't sufficiently big to hold that. And it's like, and I'm trying to figure out workarounds. And I mean, for the most part, we can do a lot of interesting stuff, but there are a bit of limitations, unfortunately.
So I would imagine there's a lot of tasting going on.
So about twice a week, I'm at the factory, you know, about 5:36, and I'm drinking from 6 to 6, tasting product. And so that's why I'm not having a drink right now. We're doing something a little different here. And yeah, it's a lot of tasting, but it's important though, because we taste test literally every single batch that goes to any consumer. We know exactly, it's, you know, there's a certain level of diligence that we have right now, especially as a younger company, that we kind of, you know, sign off on it essentially.
That's awesome. We do have a question from the live show. Dan is asking, will there be new drinks to select through the website, and how often will they rotate?
There's definitely new drinks. You know, if you live in the LA area, you kind of have a certain higher likelihood of getting kind of the most recent drinks, just because if we don't have it in a certain other distribution point in another part of the country, it's like we're doing super small batch limited release in LA. Next, you know, concentric circle, that would be like California or even kind of the West Coast. But, you know, we just launched one today, the Jack Rose, that should be available on the website because it's available in both of the retail partners that we work with. And, you know, we rotate them out relatively often. Some drinks that, you know, well, first of all, when we make a batch, we do a smaller batch because we've never made it before. So if we mess it up, it's somewhat, you know, contained. And so we learn from that one. And then the next one, we make a larger batch, but there's even kind of a gap in between that. So the first one, it'll run out basically with one release of it. And if it sells well and we like it and everything's kind of trending towards, hey, people like this, we make that larger batch. So it's not always, you know, a guarantee that we're going to remake it. But if it's a big hit, then it'll probably be a month or two after we'll kind of re-release it, at least for a period of time, until it either becomes a staple kind of product or we'll kind of phase it out and re-release something else.
That is so fascinating to me, Lawrence, and I'm just wondering, because I live in Gilroy. It's a quick 4.5 hour drive to get to your neck of the woods. Like, if I'm following you on Instagram, or like, do you have a Discord channel where like I know when the drop is gonna be, and I'll fly on down the 152 to the 5 to the 405, maybe stop off in Santa Monica, and I could pick up something real quick. Like, how do I know when shit is rockets to the moon? That's what I want to know.
The best thing is to be basically signed up on our website with your phone number, and we literally will text you like, drinks are available. You can buy it right now. We'll ship it to you and it'll arrive the day after next. You don't have to leave Gilroy. You can enjoy your neck of the woods, and we'll bring it right to you through basically a licensed store. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to the moon like Robin Lopez moments on the NBA Top Shot. Handle Jeff is rad. Send me some shit.
Solomon. There's so much more I want to ask, but I just spilled my beer all over my computer, so I'm kind of panicking for a second. But I did want to ask, how many states are you shipping to now? If people go to Drnxmyth.com to order up some of your fantastic libations.
Yeah, we have different retail partners who ship on our behalf to 32 different states currently. It's affordable in basically kind of the West Coast and kind of the tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area. Outside of that, it's going to be, a little rough.
Shipping gets a little bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, we're working on it. Been in business here for about 12 months, and we're moving fast to make it affordable for all you.
No, absolutely. John, any other questions?
I want to know what the spices are in the spiced honey in my smoked watermelon. I love spicy stuff, and the fact that it's kind of a sweet and savory drink at the same time is just knocking my socks off. So I'm just kind of amazed, really, truthfully. Oh, I don't know if you saw in the comments, JVB said, well, for the sidecar, maybe you need a 3-chamber bottle.
No.
And JVB also would like to know what Lawrence's favorite version of their drink is. Like, do you have a favorite in there? And then what's the MSRP of the products?
So my favorite currently is probably the rum punch, because that was probably the one we saved from Annihilation, in that initially the rum we had wasn't the best. It didn't have enough pineapple. You had to experiment with different kinds of coconut and this and that, and we've kind of turned it into a pretty badass drink through a lot of work and a lot of negative comments, on the website. And so, I'm proud of that one, and I personally like rum, drinking rum right now. And so they're essentially, we have about 2 shots on the top chamber. You can hear John kind of the effect it has on John, and he's a nightly drinker. And so it's about $11 to $12 to $13 depending on the drink. The classics are about $11, and the newer ones are around $12. Some of them we get up to about $13 because of the types of ingredients that we use. Like this new one we released called the Clover Club, which is like a 100-year-old type recipe with basically raspberry syrup and gin and fresh lemon juice. But basically, instead of egg white, we use this like garbanzo bean liquid substitute, which is like a vegan version of egg white, which creates a certain kind of foaming effect in the drink. So you're really getting, it's like kind of next level kinds of ingredients and this and that. So those are kind of get up to 13. So it's approximately 2 shots per bottle, or you can call it a double or 2 drinks, kind of depending on how you pour it. That's what we're doing.
So $6 a drink, essentially.
$6 a drink.
Yeah.
All right.
I by the way, growing up in Santa Cruz County, you had me at vegan garbanzo egg whites. That's awesome.
And then you have all kinds of mixed drinks that you can get, mixed orders you can get on the site. You have like a 10 mix, you have a whole bar, 20 pack, all kinds of stuff you can get at Drnxmyth.com, right?
Yeah, no, you can, we can have huge bundles of product. We have huge varieties of, and we're launching a like a rum, tequila, coffee, spice one next month. We have an apple brandy, fresh pomegranate, lemon one. We have, hibiscus, mezcal. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff, that it sounds, a little crazy, but once you try, you're like, okay, again, it's one of those things where if you were at a higher end bar and a bartender was saying, hey, you should try this drink, you're going to do it because you probably don't know what you're doing. And it sounds kind of weird and exotic, but then you're in a certain environment. So having that bartender involved and a certain kind of packaging, if you already had one of our original kind of recipes, you kind of had to sort of trust that, wow, these guys really know how to make a drink. So, people really love all the variation and newness of all our different launches.
Yeah.
I did have a question that makes sense. No, but seriously, I mean, your creative market is really, you're creating your own. I mean, are you starting to see some people, some mixologists come to you with their drinks to package?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I feel really bad because there's a lot of people that come to us and they're like, hey, I want to make a drink, and I've been in the industry of this and that. It's just we almost have to turn a lot of people away because there's only so many drinks you can make, with production, and it's and we launched so many. We've probably done like 16, 17 over the past 12 months, and so we basically try to really incorporate as many people as we can, even kind of like putting different kind of collaborations together. Hey, this Jack Rose cocktail, for example, this guy who I've known here in LA is a bartender. His Instagram account is Bottled in Bond LA. So he, I was like, hey, we need to find someone to help us work this cocktail. And the Lair Distillery, which is the oldest distillery in the United States, they basically ship, and their whole, spirit or apple brand is Bottled in Bond, and that's kind of their thing. It's a prohibition era kind of regulatory thing. And so we were able to kind of loop him in where it kind of made sense with the Bottled in Bond product. And he has like Bottled in Bond kind of already tattooed on his arm. We didn't make him do that. So it was like nice synergies, with different people. So we try to do that as much as possible.
And for reals, it's interesting because so on this show, we talk about booze and we have a lot of booze folks, but like everybody who's working, are we working, Jeff? Do we get paid for this show? But everybody on the panel, like we're all like beer and wine guys for the most part. And so a lot of times when people are asking us about cocktails, about spirits, we usually say like, get a good relationship with your bartender. And I almost feel like now, no joke, Lawrence, Drnxmyth as an entity is my favorite bartender that's like introducing me to these different ideas. And I think like it's just opening up worlds of possibilities. You know what I mean? Kind of like NBA Top Shot and cryptocurrency.
It's a little like that, but not really. I mean, but it's but no, totally. I mean, it's one of those things where like, for a lot of the bartenders we work with, they're not necessarily just your bartender down the street, even though they are, but they also have, 20, 100, 200,000 followers on Instagram because they know how to make drinks, but they know how to showcase like the beauty of a drink and, make a nice, video of it or a nice image of it and kind of explain to you the reasoning behind a certain cocktail. And so they have all these followers because they've made cocktails accessible to thousands of people, and that's why partly why we worked with them, so that they had a certain kind of credibility with their audience, because you may be in Gilroy and you don't necessarily get down to LA and kind of know these bartenders, but you see them on Instagram and you've always wanted to have one of their drinks, and now you can actually have a drink that tastes like a drink they would make for you. And so, that's a kind of part of the beauty of, what we're doing.
That's awesome. We do have another question from the panel, from the peanut gallery. Rhett is wondering if Drnxmyth has some kind of subscription option. Rhett is looking for a Drnxmyth box.
Drnxmyth box subscriptions, technically memberships for the regulatory people maybe watching. Yes, we are. we are launching that in about 4 to 8 weeks. We've been getting a lot of interest around that. Where basically you get first dibs on the drinks. You'd get a number of kind of special bonus, obviously discounts on shipping and product and all that kind of good stuff. So that's it's definitely coming online very soon here.
Excellent. Great question, Rhett. So stay tuned to Drnxmyth.com and at Drnxmyth on Instagram for that. To find out more, I assume.
Yep, at Drnxmyth on Instagram or www.drnxmyth.com.
All right, Jeff or John, any last question before we move on?
I mean, I hope we do this California trip because I'm going to load up on some of these things when we come out there.
No, we have some friends in the We Like Drinking Tavern that reached out to me on the down low, and they're like, "We've been loving this stuff for the last couple of months. We're stoked that that you guys are talking about it now." And I'm just glad. I feel very like tuned in. I feel like I'm an early adopter here, like I am on NBA Top Shot. Jeff is rad. Gift me some moments, everybody.
I'm just waiting for you to say brought to you by Carl's Jr. at some point. I mean, it's just gotten to that point. Lawrence, is there anything that we didn't get across? Is there anything that we missed that you want to make sure our viewers and listeners know about?
I think you got everything and more. So I appreciate all the questions, and we're on the other end of the Instagram handle. So if you have any questions you want to say privately, that's perfectly okay.
All right, excellent. All right, well, with that, my if my margarita's gone, I've spilled a glass of beer on my laptop. It must be
Last call.
Last call. Time to clean.
Oh, I found the button.
Time to clean house and lock the doors. Folks, you know what we do here, folks. We're looking for a little bit of help from you. John Ruyak, if the folks want to follow us on social media platforms, how can they do so?
Well, there's Twitter, Instagram, and the tavern. That's Twitter is We Like Drinking 1. That's the numeral 1. Instagram is just We Like Drinking. And taverns, welikedrinking.com/tavern. If you're not a member, ask for permission, send a request, and most of the time we say yes.
And be like Rhett and just send everybody just make them join the tavern. We'll let them all in. Lawrence, one more time, if folks want to follow you on the social media platforms, where are the best places to find Drnxmyth?
Instagram, and just type in DRNX, and it'll pop right up with the weird face behind right there, and just click on it, and then you'll be linked in. And if you go on the website and put in your phone number and your email, you're like the first person to know for all our limited release product, and it's the best place to stay, tuned in.
Awesome. Jeff Solomon. Okay, we know about the whole Top Shot thing, but besides that, if the folks want to leave some comments or thoughts on the We Like Drinking podcast, not send you stuff on NBA Top Shot, where can they go to do that?
Hey, those of you that are watching live, as you ought to do every Tuesday night around 7:30-ish Pacific, at welikedrinking.com/show or on YouTube, make sure that you're mashing the like and subscribe button. You're obviously all active in the comments, except for you lurkers. All you lurkers, leave your NBA Top Shot handles in the comments right now. Send me some moments. But those of you that are listening to the audio only right now, take a look at your phone, at your podcast catching device. Fill in those 5 stars and leave an honest review. Tell me what I should buy on Top Shots. And also, I have a bonus question for Lawrence.
Ooh.
You mentioned the weird face guy on the logo. Is there a story behind that?
No.
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Right. I mean, it's something that we were developing. We wanted something that was like a general image of a bartender, and like, you know, we have all these different bartenders we're working with, and like they all part of like this, like they can become the Drnxmyth, and then you become the Drnxmyth, and we're trying to get all philosophical about it. And you know, it seems to have worked pretty well. It seems to be kind of a powerful, you know, icon that people kind of like naturally associate with us. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, I do have to say, I love the logo.
It's
I'm
robust
loving
in
it.
its minimalism.
Yeah, they should turn that into a moment on NBA Top Shot.
God, jeez.
If you've done all that and you're looking to do a little bit more, consider becoming a patron of the show by visiting welikedrinking.com/pledge to find out more information about how, for as little as $1 a month, you can help us continue to grow our podcast. Like Rhett. Oh, we mentioned Rhett last week.
Yeah,
We've mentioned Rhett
you
too
talk
much in
about
this
Rhett
show.
way too much.
Yeah. Rhett's getting a t-shirt sent to him for signing up at the $7 level. You can also find the show notes for this episode with all links to the stories or mentions we had at welikedrinking.com/episodes. All right, folks, that was a fun episode. That was a blast. But we've reached the time of the show where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
I love that I go first, and I love that I get to go the longest on this section. So a couple of things.
Oh, here we go.
Here, okay. So if Eccles didn't already post it on the tavern, Lizard Tail purchased a 10-barrel brewery, and we've got we're expanding, we're increasing our production sevenfold by moving from a 350 barrel system per year to we should be able to do almost 2,500 barrels. But within that space is a full kitchen and seating for 94 people and a patio outside. But really nice people. They couldn't run the business anymore, but they left behind some wine. So I'm going to suggest that the wine we drink on the podcast next is Noisy Waters green chili wine. And I do believe it's available online. So Jeff McKinney, I beat you to the punch. I think we should all be drinking green chili wine on the show for our next wine drinking episode. My other comment is that as a herpetologist, I get asked a lot throughout the year about what kind of snake this is and is it going to bite me? Am I going to die? And I'm like, well, if you just leave it alone, you won't have any problems. I will say this though, particularly if you live on the West Coast, don't ask me if it's okay to lick a salamander's butt. Most of them are really toxic. You shouldn't do that.
Life advice brought to you by the We Like Drinking podcast. Jeff Solomon.
You know what's great is I've actually done a review of New Mexico Hatch Chili wine before. Stay Rad Wine Blog TV episode. That's not it. That's of course here it is. Stay Rad Wine Blog TV episode 149, featuring my really good buddy and guitar player for the Willies, G-Rat. We drink some Hatch chili wine. So if you want to know my thoughts, go back in the way back time machine of stayradwineblog.com.
Can you see the green tint?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Yes,
Oh
you
yeah.
can.
I've had it. I'm sure it's as pleasant as the Lost Coast marijuana wine is. Not
Lawrence,
good.
Lawrence, if you can't tell, this is really where things start to fall apart. But do you have any final thoughts before we let you get out of here while the getting's good?
I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool. Not as cool as buying another brewery, but this is the size of our new 750 ml bottle. Party size. That's coming out in about a year. So that's the first 3D print of it, and it's going to be pretty cool.
That is
awesome.
Cool.
awesome. So
And I'm going to beat JVB to the punch. He wants to know if there's 3 chambers.
So is that 4 drinks? 5 drinks? What is that going to pour?
Like 7 or so.
7.
Drinks.
All right. Well, okay. Excellent. That's pretty amazing. Cannot wait to see that. And I'll just say, Lawrence, man, thank you so much for taking time to join us. Thank you so much for sending the samples. I can't wait to get mine and get into these. I know these guys have been loving them. I really hope folks will go check out Drnxmyth.com. The guys seem to think these are worthwhile. The package is amazing. This seems like something that you want to get in on the ground floor, similar to sending Jeff Solomon some NFTs on NBA Top Shot. So make sure
I'm going to the moon.
So Lawrence, thank you again for providing this to the world, and thank you so much for joining us on the We Like Drinking podcast.
See you guys. Thank you for having me.
And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast, where you'll never drink alone.
Jeff is rad. NBA Top Shot. Send me some moments. Give me some packs. Try to get that cool cat challenge.
Man, I tell you what, when we let the big booze in,
That's messy.
things just fall apart. The chat is just continuing. JVB Lawrence is trying to leave early. He's so tired. All right, viewers, thank you so much. We want to get Lawrence get out of here, but we got to talk to him a minute. So we are going to drop off. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, Kristen. I saw what happened while we were talking. That was awesome. And we will talk to you all next week.
I got all these business cards.